In this video tutorial, I will explain how to send push notifications to mobile phones in AwareIM. Push notifications are messages that a phone receives from various applications. When you receive one, you usually hear a beep, and you can view the contents of the message even if the application that sent the message is not currently loaded in your phone. Starting from version 7.1, push notifications are supported in AwareIM. Your AwareIM-based application can now send push notifications to registered phones. In this tutorial, I will explain what developers need to do to send push notifications in their applications. Note that push notifications are only supported for native mobile applications and are not supported for browser-based applications. So before you use them, you need to build a native mobile application using the PhoneGap build. Please watch a separate video tutorial about building native mobile applications for more details. Push notifications are always sent from some AwareIM process using a special action of the AwareIM rule language. However, before this action can be used, the developer needs to prepare the application for sending push notifications and perform some setup activities. This only needs to be done once. So the process consists of two parts: setup, which is done once, and then using the rule language action to send notifications from a process. Let's talk about the setup first. Push notifications are sent using special cloud services that are provided for free from Google for Android devices and from Apple for iOS devices. When you use the action to send a push notification from an AwareIM process, AwareIM automatically calls these services Google Firebase Messaging Service or FCM for Android devices and Apple Push Notification Service or APNS for iOS devices. In order for AwareIM to call these services, the developers need to set up these services for FCM and APNS respectively. In this tutorial, I will show you how to do this for FCMS services, and you will need to follow the documentation to do this for APNS services. So to set up the FCM service, you need to create a project by going to the following URL. Let me go to this URL now. You may need to create a Google account if you don't already have one. It's free. And sign in. Here I already have a project called Push Notifications. If you don't, it's easy to do this. Just press the Add Project button here. Once the project has been created, you need to add an Android application by clicking the Add App button here. I already have an Android application created, so I will go to this application and click on the Settings button. First of all, I need to download a special file called Google Services JSON by pressing this button here. I should keep this file in a safe location somewhere. The next step is to obtain the services key that I will need to enter into AwareIM. To do this, I need to go to the Cloud Messaging tab and copy the key from here. That's all we need to do to set up the FCM service. Setting up APNS service for Apple devices is more complicated. You will need to register as Apple developer and obtain the appropriate certificate. You should follow the instructions on the Apple site. Go to the Provisioning and Development section. Make sure you read it carefully and follow the instructions. At the end of the process, you should set up a certificate on your server machine, and you need to record the path to the certificate as well as the password. You will need this for AwareIM. Once both FCM and APNS services have been set up, you should enter parameters of these services into AwareIM. Once again, this should only be done once. To do this, double-click on your business space version to bring up the editor. Then select the Push Notifications property. Then enter the location of the JSON file and the services key for the FCM service and the path to the certificate and password for the APNS service. I will just enter some garbage values here. Once you click OK to save the values, AwareIM will automatically add the following elements to your business space version. The mobile phone object. This object will store special parameters of the mobile phone that push notification will be sent to. I will explain this a little later in more detail. It will also add a notification called Mobile Push Notification. This notification represents the actual message that will be sent to the phone. Once this has been done, you can start the configuration work. Before the user can receive push notifications on the phone, he needs to sign up for this and register his phone for push notifications. He would normally do this by clicking some button or a menu item in the application. So your application needs to provide this button or menu item. This button should start a process, and this process should have the following action. Mobile subscribe. This action will register the phone of the user for push notifications. It will automatically create an instance of the mobile phone object and put it into the context of the process. This instance will have a unique registration ID that will be used by the cloud service. We can see this attribute here. AwareIM will also automatically determine whether it's an Android or iOS phone. It needs to know this in order to understand which cloud service to use when sending a notification to this phone. This attribute stores this information. Let's modify the mobile part of the CRM sample application to add a menu item that will register the current phone. We will store all registered phones of the user in a reference attribute called Phones. So I will add this attribute to the staff member object. The type of the attribute will be mobile phone, and multiple allowed will be on. Now I will write a process that will register the current phone. The first action of the process will register the phone. As I mentioned before, this action will create an instance of the mobile phone object and add it to the context. So I can use this instance in subsequent actions. Here I will add the phone to the list of phones of the current user. Now I need to add the command to the menu of the mobile application. When the user selects this menu item, his phone will be registered and added to the list of phones. So this menu item will start the register phone process that we have just created. Now we can add a process that will send push notifications. The action that does this is called mobile push. It sends the mobile push notification to the instances of the phones in the context of the process. We can actually have two processes. One will send notifications to the phones of a particular staff member, and another process will send notifications to all registered phones. Let's start with a process that sends notifications to a particular staff member. The staff member instance will be the input of this process. First, we need to create a notification and initialize its attributes. So the title of the message will be called test, and the body of the message will say you need to go to a meeting. Here we can also specify some parameters of the notification, whether it will have sound, badge, color, and so on. We can see the list of supported attributes here. The actual values of these attributes can be found if we look at the documentation of the GCM and APNS service. Now we need to actually send the notification to the phones of the user. First, we need to find the phones and put them in the context. And finally, we can send the notification. The process that will send notifications to all phones will be similar. I will copy and paste the first process and then change it. We will no longer need the staff member object as input to the process. I will change the text of the notification. The system will be unavailable on Sunday. And instead of putting phones of the staff member into the context, I will find all phones. The rest should be the same. That's it. Okay, so now we just need to provide the way to start these processes. Note that the processes will most probably be activated not by users on their phone, but by a system administrator on his desktop system. So we will most probably need to add the corresponding menu items to the non-mobile part of the administrator menu. That's all we have to do. Unfortunately, I cannot show you how this works on a real phone, as this will require me to build a native mobile application and upload it to a phone. But hopefully you understand the idea.